Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris-Silvella Sews on social media. Welcome back to Sober 50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. Grab a cuppa, support this podcast on Patreon and relax with us. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube or listening on your podcast app, please like and subscribe to Sew Organised Style podcast. Become a Patreon supporter of this podcast is only a few clicks away. I've invited Alison MBE onto the podcast to discuss her updated The Sewing Book. It's also available on Kindle. Let's watch and listen to Alison now. Alison, thank you for coming onto the podcast for Sober 50 on Sew Organised Style podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so pleased that this time we can actually talk more about you and what it is you've done, are doing, and some of the new things that are coming up this year.
Oh, okay.
Many people will know you as an author. They will know you as a sewing teacher. Your services to sewing and corsetry have been recognised with your MBE, which I'm always happy to talk to people. Like, oh, I'm talking to Alison, she's got an MBE. It's like, Maria, calm down.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a huge achievement.
There's one or two people have been given them who are in the quilting world, have got MBEs, but I think at the moment I'm the only person on the sort of sewing instruction side who's got one. So it's nice.
And to know that there is someone in the sewing world yourself who actually has been recognised for your years of service is great, because you're kind of the benchmark with that recognition.
Yeah, that's nice. Yes. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So these days, what do you usually sew when you have sewing time?
Oh, that's a good question. Most of my sewing at the moment tends to be geared up to my teaching on my online members club. I've got a members club which is online, and there's 300 odd videos on there. And a lot of my teaching at the moment is, we'll do this on the members club. So I'm making a dress to show that technique, or I'll think I'll make a shirt and do this technique on it, or let's show them how to hack a pattern to do this. So a lot of it tends to be geared up to what I'm teaching on my members club. But if I'm saying for me, I'm doing garments that I need to wear that probably I wouldn't be wearing when I'm teaching. Does that make sense? I wouldn't be wearing when I'm teaching. More jackets and dresses to go together for perhaps going out for a special occasion or things like that. Most of my everyday sewing has to be dresses, I guess. I make a lot of dresses. I've got a lot of dresses. Yeah, a lot of dresses and t-shirts.
The dress that you're wearing now, that's a knit?
It's a jersey. Yeah, it's a French terry, so it's got the French terry back. This is wardrobe by me, Asta dress. I've made this so many times because although is coming here and it's getting warm and it's lovely, there's still that really cold wind, so I thought this would be nice and snuggly today.
Yeah, it's beautiful. What came first for you, the dressmaking, the tailoring, or the corsetry?
The dressmaking. My mum sewed, my granny sewed. My granny was the most amazing knitter and crocheted. She crocheted. You call a crocheter? I don't know what they call them. And my mum taught sewing. And when I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went into an office and I hated every minute of working in an office. So I went to university and trained to teach art with fashion. Drawing was my main love. Drawing, painting, I love that. I've always done that from a little girl. And in the end, I ended up in a school teaching textiles. Taught in Birmingham schools for 10 years, head of departments. And then when GCSE, where our exam system changed, I got out because I could see what it was doing to the subject. Started making wedding dresses for people and started the first sewing school. And that was it. The rest is history, as they say.
Dressmaking to corsetry, was that a big jump?
It's a different skill set. Dressmaking and tailoring I've always done. And then I think it was the film Moulin Rouge that came along in the late 1990s, and everybody suddenly wanted a corset. So as a good teacher, you go off and research corsets and the fabrics and the techniques. And they haven't changed since Victorian times. The construction technique, the fabrics we use to make them just haven't changed at all. They're not difficult to make. They're quite easy to draft if you're into pattern drafting. They reduce your waist by at least 2 inches, which is great. They give you a different shape. They give you very much an hourglass shape because whereas your bra will push up and sort of separate, the corset doesn't do that. The corset just sort of pushes you up, and then you get sort of spillage at the top sometimes and at the bottom. Um, they're not difficult to make. It's a completely different way of sewing. It's all straight line sewing, and
Yep.
you have to be deadly accurate because you have to sew very close to the edge to get all your casings on. In theory, I can make every garment I wear because I can knit, so I could knit my own socks. But I've
Okay.
never tried that. I've never tried that. Just, I think if you're a teacher, you're constantly learning, you're constantly questioning, you're constantly finding out why, how. And that's what you should do. Every day is a school day.
You've been doing this for many, many years, and maybe when you first started researching, you would be going to books to look at history and references. Do you tend to use books as well as online in the
Yeah,
same way?
I do. I tend books. It depends what I'm looking for, what I'm
Yep.
researching. I might go to YouTube and look at stuff. I hate to say there's a lot of bad information on YouTube,
Mm.
lots of misinformation. Um, I've got a huge, huge library of fashion books, textile books. I don't know how many have I got? I must have 500. Going back, some of them go back well into the 1930s. Um, and the techniques, a lot of the techniques don't actually change.
Hmm.
We sort of modernize them because of the fabrics we've got today, and the interfacings we've got today. So a technique that was probably done in the 1930s or 50s, we still do today,
Mm.
but the fabrics that we use might have changed. And I think I still love going to a book and looking something up and getting absorbed in the book and the illustrations. Some of the illustrations in some of the old books are absolutely adorable. And the way they, if you look at some of the books from the 1940s and 50s, they tell you, you've got to have done all your housework first. And then when you're sewing, you have to make sure your hair is done and everything. They're absolutely superb. We're probably sitting sewing our pajamas half the time, but hey, I feel sorry for some people who do go quite a lot to online references because there's no sort of guidelines as to is that good information, is that not good information. It's knowing
Mm.
which source to go to for some of the better information about things because you can read some very misleading stuff. And one little gripe of mine, and I will say it, and our people will probably really shout me down for this. So many techniques that you see online are done on industrial sewing machines. And if you've got a basic domestic machine at home, the process isn't the same. I've got a semi-industrial and it's great, but I never use that if I'm showing things to students because the foot's different. The whole way it sews is different.
Yeah.
You haven't got that bit of extra movement underneath the foot that you've got on a domestic. Um, and I think it's such a shame because an industrial can make things look super easy. But actually, you put that on your very basic entry level sewing machine, it's not quite as easy as you making it look.
You've got the experience that allows you to figure out, okay, that's not going to quite work for students with a domestic machine. Whereas if someone hasn't had that experience, they won't know.
No, they won't know. And then they get frustrated and then
Yeah.
why hasn't it worked? And it's nothing that they've done wrong. It's
No.
that they probably need a better technique or somebody to talk them through that process in a different way.
And you've written quite a few books now, and you've updated your book.
Mhm.
And before we came onto this podcast, you said, a couple of projects have changed and some of the techniques have changed or updated. Do you want to, should we talk about what it is you've done differently with this book because of the changes that you've seen
Yeah,
and experienced? Why not?
why not? Right. So if I just I've got to find the right pages now in the book.
The the book is called
Uh,
The Sewing Book.
Sewing book. If we go to, you
And
write a book and you don't actually, you've seen so much of it, you don't want to see it for a few days. This whole section here has been updated. So there's a chapter on fibres and fabrics and everything. So all this has really been updated,
Yep.
looking at different, really explaining what yarn is, where it comes from, and talking about S twists and Z twists in fabric. And then we've got a little bit here about the GSM weights of fabrics,
Yep.
because some shops sell by GSM weight, or some patterns will say, if you're making jeans, you need a GSM weight of, and people don't know what that means. So we've put that in the book, and we've written about the Oco-Tex label that you get on fabrics, the sustainable fabrics. So they're all traceable. And this is all new about all the different yarns you get, and then all the fabrics. And then we really go into interlinings and interfacings in this one, because they've all changed as well. You get lots of tapes now, fusible tapes. What do you use those for? And fusible interfacings are probably the go-to interfacing these days for most people. And it's certainly the go-to interfacing in ready to wear, because it's just easy. The projects this time are now all back at the back, like they were in the very original version. So all the projects are together at the end of the book, and the patterns are downloadable. So you can download it either onto your home printer and print off and stick together, or copy shop version. I'm not sure the version is available yet in every country, because paper sizes are different throughout the world, we've discovered.
Yeah. I've discovered
So
that all the time.
we've redone the projects. They've been rewritten some of the instructions. This is a new one. There's a dress, very on dress.
Yep.
It's so nice to wear that dress. I've made it a couple of times, and that's new. A unisex sweatshirt, ever so nice and snuggly to wear. The kimono's the same. The child's reversible coat, that has been so popular. And there is another new one somewhere. A little makeup bag, cushions, nice box, storage boxes.
Yep.
And that's a new one, a little roll-up crafter's roll.
Okay.
So you can put your little your threads in it, or if you're an artist, you can put paintbrushes in it. That's what it looks like on the inside. So you've got lots of little pockets in, for you to put in whatever you need to take to class. And then you can take the book with you on the Kindle version, so you don't have to carry this around, because it's very heavy.
I mean, I was quite impressed that this new book has come out is both hard copy and Kindle version. And just
Yes.
looking at the reviews on Amazon, you've got 800 ratings.
Wow.
78% of those are 5-star ratings.
Thank you.
That's amazing. It's not
Good.
amazing. I would expect that people would realize that your book is got good information and that it's got really clear instructions.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it, and of my publishers as well. Yeah, it's having a good publisher as well as a good author.
And did you get a few other people to help you with updating the book?
Writing a book is a huge process.
Yeah.
This was only an update. So you have DK supply you with a team of people, editors and things like that, and photographers for certain projects. Not so much in the sewing book, but when I did the tailoring book, I did call on one or two people I know who sew to help me.
That way, the burden's not all on you, but it means that you can also, I suppose, cross-check what you're doing with people in the same industry.
Yes, it is good. The timescales you work to are quite tight sometimes. DK always have the most beautiful colour schemes. And when you're writing a book, you tend to quite often want plain fabric, so it really shows up the techniques. And you can't always find the fabric in the colour that's plain, because prints are just so on trend at the moment. So sometimes it's a real quest to find the right fabrics, but we do it. We manage.
So, with all of the things that you do, where can people find you online?
A good question. I've got my own website, schoolofsewing.co.uk.
Yep.
I am teaching more online now than in person. And if you go to the little tab at the top and click on Members Club and scroll right down, there's a sample video you can watch. Um, and then you can join if you want to. It's a subscription club. It's £20 a month. And I've got a lot of members in Australia. Yeah, I've got a lot of members all around the world, actually. And there's a chat room. There's a new video comes up every Friday. You never know what it's going to be. This year we've gone for themed months. So April is how to month. So we've got how to line a shirt dress, how to on the back of a t-shirt add that little coloured tab you get on the back. You know, you get the coloured strip on the back of a t-shirt.
Yeah.
How to do that. How to sew a scalloped edge because they're very on trend at the moment, and how to use insertion lace. They're all coming
Oh,
up.
nice.
And then next month is a sew along, and we're doing the jacket out of the tailoring book. That's May. I think June is couture month, looking at techniques for special occasion wear, summer brides, those sorts of things. So each month this year has got a theme, but it's always like opening a box of chocolates on a Friday morning. You don't know what video is going to be on your computer to look at.
And this podcast is going out in May, so that's really great that you've told us what's happening in May as well as in June. Something to look forward to.
Yes, well, it'd be great if you can join me. I have got one or two. Yeah, I've got one to Australia, New Zealand. I've got students in America, Canada, Europe, all over, all
That
over.
means we can all get together without having
Yeah,
to pay for a plane fare.
I do live chats like this, not every month, but about every 6 weeks we'll do a live Zoom. It's finding a time that suits the whole world, which is really difficult. So we usually do
Hmm.
about 5:30 on UK time. So I don't know what time that would be for you guys.
However, Alison, I have actually been to meetings at 3 a.m. in the morning because of the time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's good, you do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a shame though. There's no sort of one time that suits the whole
No,
world, is there? When everybody's
no.
awake. I'm slowing down a bit now because I'm getting a bit older. I'll be doing more online, and I think it's a nice way to go because you can stop and rewind and look again and keep it. I mean, as long as you're a member, you can access the videos anytime. You can't download them, but you can watch them anytime you want to. So that if you've just forgotten, oh yeah, how do I do that collar again? You can find the video and go and watch it.
Before we finish, what's your advice to give to people who are coming back to sewing after not sewing for many years?
I
Because
think the most difficult thing you'll find, two of the most difficult things, one is patterns have changed dramatically. Um, and you can't look at your ready to wear size just because you go out and you buy a size 14 in clothes. Well, you won't be a size 14 in a commercial pattern. And I think getting your head around the pattern sizing is really difficult. And now we've got all the independent patterns as well. They all have their own sizing systems. And I think
mm,
sometimes it's finding an independent pattern company whose blocks, whose master patterns that they work off, your sort of shape. Because I know I can go to some indie patterns and they just don't fit me at all anywhere. Whereas I can pick up a Vogue or a Buttrick or a McCall's and I know exactly where to alter those to fit me. So sometimes it's finding a pattern company whose patterns work off a block that fits you, and that is a bit of trial and error. It might pay you to go to a class and get some fitting advice because that is really useful. And as you get older, if you're coming back to it, your body will have changed shape quite a lot from when you were probably sewing when you were a lot younger. So you might have, your back might be a little bit more rounded from sitting over a computer all day long. Your waistline might have expanded a little bit. So it's learning how to do all the little tweaks to a pattern that you need. And I think the other thing that's changed dramatically is haberdashery, all the interfacings. Oh my goodness, you need to know your interfacings. And of course, in Australia, you get Visaline.
yes, we do.
Yes, and we get that in Europe, but in America, it's Pellon,
Hmm.
and they're not the same parent company, but not the same products. So it's learning about all the different interfacings that you can use because they have transformed dressmaking
Mm.
and made it so much easier. And to understand that, you probably need to go to something like the Visaline website and read what's available in your country and what they're used for. Because some shops just sell a lightweight, medium weight, and heavyweight that don't cover all the different options that you
Mm.
might want. Because if you're making a really soft viscose dress, you need a really fine interfacing on it. And sometimes even a lightweight interfacing can be too heavy. You might need a lightweight interfacing, if you know what I mean. And I think
Yeah.
that's changed. And the threads we use have changed because you now get, I'm sure you get in Australia, Maraflex
Yep.
for sewing jersey because you can sew it with a straight stitch and it stretches. It's wonderful. Um, and I think that can be quite difficult. And the new fabrics, well, what's that? Where's it come from? What's Rami? What's this? What's that? What's Cupra? People need to you need to do a little bit of research, but I think patterns is probably getting things to fit is the main challenge when you're coming back to dressmaking um, after you know, an absence.
An absence of however many years, and you're right, the body changes, and you've got to come to terms with that as well, personally.
And it's only a number, just because
Yeah.
you've got to cut out a size 18 trouser doesn't mean to say you're necessarily a size. What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
On European sizing, you'd be something like a 46, doesn't mean anything. It's a
Mm.
number.
Hmm.
If it fits and it fits you well, it makes you look slimmer.
And getting some good advice around fitting and maybe going to a class is a really nice way of finding how to do that with an expert that knows.
Yes. And most people today, most people will need a full bust adjustment. Yeah. We've all changed shape over the last 30 years.
Alison, thank you for coming onto the podcast of Sober 50 today. It's been a joy and a
Maria.
pleasure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been lovely to talk to you. Thank
Same
you.
here. You put so much effort into the sewing book that I'll either go to the library, have a look online, check the
Bless you.
reviews, and it's always really good. So what's there to worry about?
Doing it on Kindle because I put Kindle onto my iPad here.
Yeah.
I thought, well, if you're going to a class, instead of taking a great big book with you, you can just take your iPad or your phone or whatever, and you can look up a technique. And it's a great resource for teachers as well, you
Yes.
know, because we all have to learn somewhere.
That's right. And you're right. The Kindle version, you can actually, if you're in a class, you could project it onto a screen or share the view.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. Yep. Brilliant book, Alison. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're updating the dressmaking book next, but that won't be be out in about another 18 months. So you'll have a bit of a wait.
They'll all be on Kindle, all by Alison.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day.
And you have a lovely day. Thank you, Maria. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. This episode of Sober 50 podcast on Organized Style was both video and audio produced by me, Maria Theoharis, in my sewing room, with permission of Alison Smith MBE. Sound by Knief on YouTube. Many thanks for the ongoing monthly support of the podcast Patreon contributors. Their membership enables me to create these podcasts, both video and audio, for you for free. You can subscribe to Organized Style Podcast, but with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps. Make sure you go back and listen to our free Sober 50 podcast archive on Organized Style Podcast. Make sure you direct message Sandy and the editors at Sober50 on Instagram to contribute to the ongoing posts and challenges the team promotes to the community. I look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.